Hey guys, so in today's video I freehanded this little bunny. It's actually the first time I ever made it and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So in the next clip, if you're interested, I will leave a list of what I used and then we can get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is create the magic circle, and if you don't know how to do that, I have a separate video on going in depth on how to create it. So because I want this bunny to be a little bit bigger, I think I'm gonna do single crochets of 8 into this magic circle. Once I get closer to the end, I have 8 single crochets. I'm just going to pull this to tighten it, and then I'm going to slip stitch into my first stitch. So I'm just going into the first stitch, grabbing some of that yarn and pulling it all the way through, and then this is where I will add my stitch marker, and that will be the end of this round. For my next round, we want to expand this, so I will be increasing into each stitch, which means 2 single crochets into each one. So if you increase all the way around, you should end up with 16 stitches in total for this round. For round 3, I'm going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then I'm going to increase into the next one, so 2 single crochets. And then I'm going to repeat that all the way until I end up back at my stitch marker with a total of 24 stitches in round 3. For round 4, we're going to single crochet into the first 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then we're going to increase into our next stitch. And then you want to repeat that all the way through until you end up with 32 stitches in total for round 4. On round 5, we're going to single crochet into the first 3 stitches. And then we're going to increase into our next stitch. And then you want to repeat that all the way through until you end up with 40 stitches in total. So I won't be showing round 6 on camera because for round 6, all we will do is single crochet all the way around, and we will still end up with 40 stitches in total for round 6. Alrighty, so you can see it's expanding more, and now we're going to expand it even more by single crocheting into the first 4 stitches, and then, as you probably guessed, increasing into the next one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to do our increase, which is 2 single crochets. So 1, 2 into that same one, and if you repeat that all the way through, you should end up with 48 stitches in total for round 7. For round 8, we're going to single crochet into the first 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then next I'm going to increase into that next stitch. So 1 and 2. So now you're just going to repeat that all the way through until you end up with a total of 56 stitches in round 8. So at this point I feel like I should stop expanding my circle, and I think I'm just going to do a couple rows of single crochets to create my face. Oh, I forgot to mention I'm creating the face of the bunny right now and the head portion. So because this is freehand, I can't tell you right now, but of course I'll tell you in the next clip. I think I'm going to do about 6 to 7 rows of single crochets, and then I'll show you how that looks. Okay, so now I'm back, and I ended up doing 7 rounds of pure single crochets, so that is 7 rows of 56 stitches in each round, and this is what it looks like. And now I feel like I want to decrease, so for round 16 I'm going to single crochet into the first 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to do a decrease. So a decrease, and I'm gonna do an invisible decrease. So for that, I'm just going into the front loop only. I'm gonna take some of this yarn and pull it through. So now I'm gonna do the same thing to the next stitch. So just to the front loops only, get some of this yarn through, oops. Yarn over and pull through all three. So then I want to repeat those steps all the way through until I end up with 48 stitches in round 16. Once you finish your decreasing round, all you want to do for round 17 and 18 is single crochet all the way through, so you'll end up with still a total of 48 stitches in total for both rounds. Moving on to round 19, we're going to single crochet into the first 4 stitches. So I already went ahead and crocheted 3 times, so this is my 4th. And then I'm going to decrease. So still with our invisible decrease, going into the front loops only. And then you want to repeat that all the way around until you end up with 40 stitches in total for round. Moving on to round 20, we're going to single crochet into the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to do an invisible decrease. And you want to repeat that all the way through until you end up with 32 stitches in total. Our little head is starting to form a little bit more. So now for round 21, all we're going to do is single crochet throughout the entire round and end up with 32 stitches in total. We are now back to decreasing on round 22. What you're going to do is single crochet into the first 2 stitches and then decrease. And then repeat that all the way through until you end up with 24 stitches in total for round 22. For round 23, we're going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to decrease. And we will repeat that until we end up with a total of 16 stitches in total for round 20. Okay, I went ahead and did round 24 already, but for round 24, all you're doing is single crocheting all the way through to end up with a total of 16 stitches in total. And then at this point, you can stuff your project and put on your safety eyes and nose. Okay, so after I put on the eyes and I sewed on the nose, this is what it looks like. So moving on to the body. So for the body, we're going to start our new round. So I'm gonna count this again as round 1 because this is the body portion. So for the body portion, what you're going to do is continue on with where you left off, and we're going to single crochet. So I'm already at the end of my round, but basically you're just going to single crochet to your first stitch. I'm taking this off because once again this is my end piece, and then I'm going to increase, so 2 single crochets. So for your body portion, your first step, once again, is to single crochet into your first stitch, increase, repeat until you end up with 24 stitches in total for this round. For round 2 and 3, you're going to single crochet until you end up with 24 stitches in total for each round, and then it will look like this. For round 4, we're going to single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and then increase into the next stitch, and repeat that all the way through until you end up with 32 stitches in round. Okay, so for round 5, you're just going to single crochet all the way through until you end up with 32 stitches. For round 6, we're going to single crochet into the first 3 stitches, and then we're going to increase into the next stitch. And then you want to repeat that all the way through until you end up with 40 stitches in total for round 6. Okay, so here's how it's looking. And for round 7 and 8, we're just going to single crochet until we end up with 40 stitches in each round. For round 9, we're going to single crochet into the first 4 stitches. And then we're going to increase. So you want to repeat that all the way through until you end up with 48 stitches in total for round 9. Okay, so in the previous clip I mentioned that it would be 48 stitches in total, but it's actually 42. So 42 stitches in round 9. Now moving on to round 10 to 15, all you're doing is single crocheting each round, and then it'll just create this length right here. For round 16, we're going to decrease into the first stitch, invisible decrease. And then you want to single crochet into the next 4 stitches. And you're going to repeat that all the way through, but this time when you end up here, you're ending up back at your end corner. You're going to have 3 stitches left, so you just single crochet into the last 3 instead of into the last 4. So remember, when you're back here, it's only going to be 3 stitches left you'll single crochet into. Okay, so for round 16, you should have ended up with 33 stitches, and then for round 17 and 18, you're just going to single crochet. Moving on to the legs, we're going to single crochet into the 16 stitches. So I'm not counting the stitch marker, I'm just starting here, so that's 1, and here is 16. Also, don't forget to stuff your project now. And then, well, before we close it up, so I'm going into this right here, back into my loop, and then I'm just going to single crochet into where my stitch marker is. So I'm gonna leave the stitch marker so I don't lose my spot. So I'm inserting my hook, making sure I pull this yarn, yarning over there, pull through, yarn over, and pull through just like that. So that is my 17th stitch. Now I'm just going to single crochet all the way around until I end up with the length of the leg that I like. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult to show, but this is my second round of the single crochets, and remember when I told you guys to single crochet into where the stitch marker is? Well, it leaves you with this little loop right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to single crochet into this, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So slip stitch is inserting your hook through that stitch, taking some of this yarn and just pulling it straight through, just like that. So now I'm just going to continue to single crochet for the round. Also, I wanted to mention that you only need to slip stitch 1 time, so the next time you go on your round, just continue single crocheting so you can keep up with the 17 stitches in total. So remember, only slip stitch on your your second round. I ended up doing 2 more rows of single crochets, and now I'm going to start my decreasing round. So for the decreasing round, we're going to single crochet into the first 2 stitches. And then we're going to decrease, and it's not going to be an invisible decrease, I'm just going to do a normal one. So I'm going through the entire stitch. Okay, now you can repeat that all the way through until you end up at the stitch marker. Once you end up back at your stitch marker, all you have to do is just take that out and single crochet into that last. For our next decreasing round, we're just going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then we're going to decrease. Repeat that all the way through until you end up back at your stitch marker and just single crochet into that last stitch. Now all you have to do is stuff your little leg and then continue decreasing all the way around until you can close this. Okay guys, I just wanted to come back and do a little check-in because before I secured it, I actually added a little bit more length because I realized it was a little bit too short. So if you like it short, that's fine, but this bunny actually isn't for me, so I made the legs just a tiny bit longer, added like 2 more rows, and then this is what it looks like. And after you secure it, there's how it looks, and then I'm starting my new leg now. Once you have your 2 legs complete, this is what it should look like. Looks a little funny right now, but next we're going to work on our bunny ears. Round 1 of our bunny ears will consist of a magic circle, 6 single crochets, so currently I have 5, I'll do my 6th one right now. And then you want to slip stitch into that first stitch. You just want to pull straight through and put your stitch marker back in. For round 2, we're going to increase into every stitch, so you'll end up with a total of 12 stitches for round 2. For round 3, we're going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then increase into the next, and repeat that all the way through until you end up with 18 stitches in total for round 3. Since I don't want my bunny ears to be that large, I'm just going to start single crocheting a couple rows, which is row 4 to 11, and I did this yesterday already, so this is how it turned out. It's not too big, so yeah, 4 to 11, you're just going to single crochet a couple rows. For round 12, we're going to single crochet into the first stitch, and then we'll do an invisible decrease. So just go through the front loops only. yarn over and pull through. So you want to repeat that all the way through until you end up with 12 stitches in total for round 12. For round 13, you just want to single crochet all the way around, and once you're done, you just want to cut some of the yarn. Make sure you have some excess left so you can sew it onto the bunny's head, and then you'll be done with the ears. Also, when you cut the yarn, you can just pull this straight out and then you can sew it on this way. To begin our bunny arms, we're going to do the same thing, so that's why I didn't show this on camera, but round 1 is your magic circle and then 6 stitches in that round. For round 2, it increases all the way around, so that's 12 stitches in total. So once you finish round 1 and 2, round 3 to 6 is going to be pure single crochets to create the length. For round 7, we're going to single crochet into the first 4 stitches. I already did 3, so this is my 4th. And then we're going to do our invisible decrease. And you just want to repeat that one more time, and you should end up with a total of 10 stitches in total for round 7. Round 8 and 9, all you want to do is single crochet, so it'll still be 10 stitches. This arm is going to get a little bit smaller because for round 10, we're going to single crochet into the first 3 stitches. I've already done 2, so this is my 3rd one. And then you're going to decrease and repeat that one more time. And then you should end up with a total of 8 stitches for this one. After round 10, for rounds 11 and 12, you're just going to single crochet, and then this is what the arm will look like. So at this point, you can stuff this, but the only thing is it will make it stand out on your bunny, like it won't lay down flat. So you can decide how much stuffing you like to put in it, or you don't have to put any at all. And then now you can just sew all your pieces onto your bunny. I just finished attaching the arms and the ears to my bunny, and here's how he looks. I also went ahead and used the Clover pom-pom maker to create this little tail at the back. And there he is.